with another Kick in the Mix session. We're just going to take a look at one of my favourite tracks, which was written in 1969 amongst the time of political change in America. And at the time, Motown, Berry Gordy did not want to release this. It was like really heavy political shit. But Marvin had a presence of mind to push his vision through, and this song became a classic. So let's check it out, starting with the drums. So this is a good little template. What I do is, if I'm producing a record and if someone says, oh, I want that 60s sound, I want that old Motown sound, I would hark back to a track like this. And if you listen to it, it does sound like something that Duffy or Amy Winehouse would come up with, that groove. And the way the drums are mixed in mono as well. So if you're thinking of producing a track, that's why it's good to sort of listen, get your reference points, and you can sort of like create a modern track but in that old style. So here's the drums. I've used as little plugins as possible just to give it that kind of vintage sheen and not to make it too digital and artificial sounding. Guitars. Two guitars going on here. One acoustic-y and one kind of jangly. What I would do is pan them left and right so you get a nice stereo field. And now the bass line, which I always think provides the glue to a record. And that's grooving. And this bass line, the guy who actually did it, Jameson, he was actually a bit drunk when he wrote it, but it gives it that kind of human timing. Okay, now what I like about this track is because it's a pleasant track. It's written in E major 7th, which is a really nice key, but it changes. It goes to an E minor 7th, which is a really dark kind of disconnect chord. And at the time, 1968, 1969, this was not done, especially not in Motown. So the way the track changes is just amazing, I think. So here we go, bubbling nicely in E major 7th, down to E minor 7th, and the bass is just going dum, 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 dum. This is a standard Motown bass line. I know this song inside out because I've studied it to death. At School of Audio Engineering, as part of your dissertation, you get to write about and study these master tracks really in depth. So I literally know every single note and instrument on this record. Sad, I know. Pretty cool. Okay. Some other sounds going on here, which I didn't even know existed on the track, but it's really good when you break down a record because you hear things that you didn't think were there before, like this. This is just a basic piano that Marvin is playing. He wasn't the greatest pianist, but he's just playing. And that goes well with the groove as well. Anyway, that's the piano, and it's got these vibes which are essential to the record, but you wouldn't know is there. They really do sit in the mix beautifully. It gives it that bittersweet thing, xylophones. I think Bruce Springsteen leaves that a lot as well, but it gives it that bittersweet kind of thing. There's some reed saxophone here. It's the guy who did this alto sax. He's from Philadelphia. It has a very mellow sound, kind of down and out, and that works well with the E minor 7th chord. What else have we got going on now? We're going to go into these vocals, which I think are amazing. And I've done something to him to try and imitate the old Motown sound. So these are the original backing vocals, which Marvin got his friends in the studio to have a little jam, and they were saying things like "Right on, brother, right on," and kind of thing. But yeah, these vocals, check them out. And all I've done is see that track there I'm highlighting. I've duplicated it. I've put this one to the left and I put this one to the right. So it's kind of like a crowd vibe going on. And that works well with the main vocals, which is here.
Right on, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Marvin Gaye. Genius.
Right on, baby. Right on.
So, in the vocal track, all I've done is doubled it up. So, this is his original vocals. And I've used a really expensive plugin here. I mean, this is a bank breaker. It's like cost $4,500. It's called Waves plugin, and people in production know. This is V-Comp, which is a beautiful classic vintage analog. It gives it that kind of sheen.
Here today, yeah, Father.
And I've doubled it up.
We don't need to escalate.
With one behind it, which is a reverb on there.
Escalate. You see, war is not the answer.
And this is straight down the middle. This is mono, but it's really up front in the mix.
You know we've got to find a way to bring some love in here today. Oh, picket lines and picket signs. Don't punish me.
Okay. I'm getting emotionally carried away listening to this record now. So, back to the tutorial.
I'll tell you what's going on.
They work well with the strings, which you'll hear in a minute. And it's just basically an octave singing up and an octave singing down, and that works. And that's what I do when I'm producing tracks. I get him to sing the same note over and over again, and you double it up and you stereo, and it builds this wall of sound. Yeah, pretty amazing. Some vibes going on there. Now, one of the most beautiful parts of this record are the strings. I think these are amazing. So just listen to them. Now, you will recognize these strings probably. They've been sampled by everyone from Frank Ocean to Corinne Bailey Ray. But they are one of the most beautiful things ever, and recorded by the guy who did the Barry White strings. And all I've done is I've doubled it up and made it stereo. In fact, it's these runs that make the when you're producing modern tracks and you're producing strings, you don't get that what they call runs, which is those little that really make it almost a vintage orchestra sound. These. So you've got cellos there in the background, which is really dark and low. And this cadence in the E minor 7th is really quite sad and dark. then it goes really light to a major 7th. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play those with the backing vocals, and then you can see what I was talking about the mix, about how it sounds. There. See, vocals on themselves don't sound that nice, but when you mix them with the strings, it sounds angelic. And that basically is it. Simple, clean, efficient, vintage sound. So yeah, once again, my name's Treija. Thanks for listening. If you like it, click subscribe, whatever. Peace out.